Hello everyone, and welcome to the advanced glow-in-the-dark circuit. This one is effectively very similar to the previous simple glow-in-the-dark circuit. What we have is 5 volts, an LED that is basically being bypassed by a path that contains a light-dependent resistor. Now this light-dependent resistor, this one here, we've covered in tutorial 4, the previous video, but effectively it's got about 200 kilo ohm in the darkness and about 200 ohm in bright light. This here is a transistor, which we covered in tutorial 2. Effectively what it does is it amplifies the current going through here from the base to the emitter by a factor of 40, so that its beta is 40. So it amplifies this current here by a factor of 40, which is going to be meaning that 40 times larger current will be allowed to pass from the 5 volt to the earth. So looking at this diagram, let's run through scenarios and see how the circuit works. Let's say the light is very bright. What is going to happen is the current is going to go from the 5 volts through the variable resistor and into the earth. Most of the current is going to go around, and some of it is, now depending on how we play around with this guy, the idea is to make it so that the light comes on at the precise shade that suits us. But in a scenario of totally very, very bright light, most of the current bypasses the LED, and effectively the LED stays off. Now, what's different about this circuit? Let's say a shadow passes over the variable resistor. What's going to happen is that a small current is going to go through here into the ground. Now, this current, if an LED were here, would not be enough to turn on the LED. But effectively, this current here gets multiplied. So this, we call this current here C. It would get multiplied by 40. So we would get 40C here. So even a small shadow passing over our LDR is going to change the state of the circuit so that a little more current passes through the transistor. It's amplified by 40, and it's probably going to be enough to turn our LED on. So in other words, the idea is when we make the circuit, we will make it so that we'll turn this variable resistor to the point where the light just goes off, so that every time a shadow passes by, the light should be able to come on. So it's just like the previous circuit, but it's rather sensitive to light and should be much more fun to play with. Let's get to building it. So we get started the normal way. We connect our red rail to 5 volts and our blue rail to GND. Then we get our little transistor into the board, somewhere in the middle. Right there will do, and as usual it is eat big cookie. So emitter, base, collector. So the first thing we're going to do is connect that emitter into the ground, because it always goes there in every transistor circuit. And there we go. So through the collector, we're going to connect an LED and the 330 ohm standard LED resistor. So here goes our LED, and here goes our 330 ohm. Alright. So right now the circuit should turn on when the current through the base gets high. And what makes this interesting is, well, we're going to turn this current high when the light is low. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to connect, firstly, a variable resistor into our base from the power line. So if that's power, it's going to go into here. And the reason I'm using these little wires that are short instead of normal jumper wires is because they look a little neater in video, but it'd be easier to plunk down jumpers, so I encourage you to do that instead. Alright, so this is where power goes in. When we turn this, we vary the resistance, so this row 22 is where the power is going to go out. And we'll get a little wire to go there. Alright, so our light is already on. Now, this light's going to be on, and it's going to be changing in accordance to how much we turn this. So we should be able to turn it down and up. And as you see, we are managing. And only when you max out downwards is it nearly off. Now we're going to connect an LDR into the base and then into the ground. And this should hopefully create a bypass for the current, giving the glow in the dark effect. So LDR, ground. Yep. Alright, so with a little bit of toying around, the variable resistor. Okay, so here we are. There it is. It works. Actually, the reason why the video cut out is I had to replace one of these. They're not too reliable. And by turning this, you can maybe adjust the sensitivity a little bit. And this is pretty much at its optimal. So a small shadow amplifies this base current, which is either conducting straight into the ground when this guy gets sufficient light, or when even there's a little shadow over him, it's bypassing through the base into the ground, passing enough current to be amplified by 40, and here we are, glow in the dark. Ta-da! 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 Thank you very much.
Guys, just letting you know that every single one of these tutorials comes with a downloadable PDF manual and the finished program. The PDF manual usually contains more information about the program and step-by-step instructions that are illustrated on how to build a circuit. And the downloadable program will be sure to save you some time, so hop on over to robotics.com.au.